All right, hello everyone. I'm Jennifer Browdy, and I am a longtime professor at Bard College at Simon's Rock, and a Berkshire solo entrepreneur for many years as well. And in creating this presentation, I realized how much my entrepreneurship has grown out of my work as an educator, and step by step, I've kind of expanded from the classroom into a much broader field. So that's what I'm going to take you through today. I started the Berkshire Festival of Women Writers at Simon's Rock, and that started small with a one-day International Women's Day conference that I did for quite a few years, and then grew into a festival that went on with events, multiple events, on every day of the month of March, Women's History Month. So that kind of set the stage for my doing a lot of event planning and public speaking and classes and workshops in all kinds of venues in the Berkshires and beyond. So out of that grew the Butterfly Leadership Program for young girls, which was a writing intensive summer workshop, and then we began to do weekend workshops throughout the year. And that was, as you can see here, we partnered with the Mount to have a wonderful space for that, and we brought girls in from all over, including Berkshire County, to develop leadership skills and build their confidence. So out of that came an anthology, Writing Fire, which I have sitting here on the table, which brought together Berkshire women from many walks of life, many ages, to share all kinds of writing, poetry, fiction, nonfiction. It's a wonderful collection. And to publish that collection with a friend, Jana Lace, I co-founded Greenfire Press. So what you see here on the table is the fruits of Greenfire Press almost 10 years later. Jana has moved on, and I now run that press by myself. And I would say that's one of the primary areas of my entrepreneurial work now is the press. So some of the women are based, well, they're not just women, some of the authors are based locally in the Berkshires, so you might recognize Maria Serrois, who teaches at Kripalu and lives locally. Her book is one of our bestsellers. It was the very first book after the anthology that we published and still going strong. It's a wonderful book about recovering from grief. Lee Schwartz's book won an award and is about her journey as the parent of a trans child. And Initiated by the Spirits is by a Smith professor writing about her work in Peru, developing what I would call ecological spirituality, both in terms of permaculture and in terms of spiritual development. So those are exciting books. And as you can see, the motto of Greenfire Press is books that make the world better. And all the books that I publish do, I really believe, make the world better. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about The Little Mo Effect by Dr. Pierre Boutin, another Berkshire resident, in a minute. But I wanted to talk about Mary Lyons. So Mary Lyons was introduced to me by Berkshire solo entrepreneur Jane Feldman. I did a Yes Magazine article about Mary and some of the other indigenous great-grandmothers. Mary is Ojibwe. And out of that came the honor of publishing her book, Wisdom Lessons, which she handed over to me and Grace Rossman, another Berkshire resident, a folder of her poetry and said, make this into a book. And it was an honor to do that. So her book is about addiction and recovery and coming back from despair and remembering that your ancestors are there to support you. And she is really a shining light in the world. So what's been great for me as an entrepreneur is that I get to meet and work with all these wonderful people. That's Maria Serrois up in the left there, and Penny Gill is a retired dean of the college at Mount Holyoke. And Greenfire Press has published 2 of her books, which are also about how to stay centered and try to make a difference in these very challenging times. So now that we're all in the digital world, I can do things like online book launches. So this is Penny Gill's book launch, which was attended by people from all over the world, really. And that's been a really exciting thing in the past few years, is that I can be a Berkshire-based entrepreneur, but have really a worldwide reach. Greenfire Press is a print-on-demand press, so the books are available anywhere in the world. Not everywhere, but many places in the world where Amazon and Ingram have distribution centers. And I have been feeling like I'm working out in the world much more. So Pierre Bouton's book, The Little Mo Effect, is a book that, very much based in the Berkshires, has a lot of Berkshire people that you will recognize in the book. It's a memoir, but also reaches out into the world. So it's the story of when Pierre was hiking in the Atlas Mountains of Morocco, and she by chance ran into this little Mohammed, who you can see on the cover and in the picture on the left, had terrible club feet. And since Dr. Bouton is an orthopedic surgeon, she made it her mission to bring him to the U.S. and get the surgery he needed right here in the Berkshires. A lot of Berkshire people helped. And you can see that he's all grown up and very proud of this book now and, running around and playing soccer, having a normal life. However, the earthquake in Morocco just pulled Pierre Bouton back out of the Berkshires and into Morocco with her adopted daughter, Sumia, who is Mohammed's sister. Sumia has a foundation, and they are working to improve conditions for the people in Morocco. And Sumia, in particular, is working for girls' education, which is, of course, very close to my heart. So again, I feel like I have kind of a partnership going with my authors that is really satisfying. And as an entrepreneur, the press benefits me in other ways. It's kind of synergistic. I published Nature, Culture, and the Sacred by Bioneer's co-founder Nina Simons, who's pictured here at her book launch. And as a result of my relationship with Nina, I became a presenter at the Bioneers Conference, which is one of the largest environmental and social justice conferences. And I was really happy to consult with them on creating the Bioneers Learning Platform, which is brand new, Education for Action with a community of leadership is their motto. And again, it's very much in line with everything I've been doing in my whole career. And now I will be giving a class for the Bioneers Learning Platform in March, Leadership, Writing, and Public Speaking for Social and Environmental Justice, which I've been teaching online and in person for many years, and I'm excited to bring it to a wider audience through the Bioneers. So Greenfire Press is also the home of 3 of my books, my memoir, and then 2 books that I have written that are writer's guides to purposeful memoir. So I have kind of made a specialty of guiding others to write memoir, and particularly purposeful memoir, which is memoir that is sharing your story to be a benefit to others. So one of the things I did during the whole shut-in COVID period was I created a card deck of writing prompts. So one side is a writing prompt, and the other side is one of my beautiful images, because another thing I do is I take beautiful landscape photographs These happen to all be in Nova Scotia, where I spent my COVID period. So there are 54 cards, each one with a different writing prompt and a beautiful image. So those are really good for like morning inspiration kind of writing. And if you did all of them, you would be led along a path of writing purposeful memoir. So that is something that I really enjoy. I really enjoy teaching adults these days. I've spent a lot of time teaching college. I still love that. But teaching adults memoir is very special because everybody has such interesting stories to tell. So I've been doing different kinds of teaching online, in person, different venues like Mount Greylock, the Mount, different places in the Berkshires and beyond. And then online, I've done online retreats, and then I have created some self-paced courses, which I'll talk about in a minute. But in general, it's very synergistic. The press serves the teaching, serves the coaching and manuscript review I do, and it kind of is a beneficial circle that goes around. So something that I added more recently, during COVID, is an online community for writers that I started with my longtime friend, Audrey Kalman, who is based on the West Coast. So we started an online community where you can be a part of that writers community from anywhere. And we have members from all over the world. And we offer all kinds of events and many free events. It's free to join. And then we also have retreats here and on the West Coast, and many kinds of classes, including a whole series of Birth Your Truest Story online classes that we developed, which kind of take you from getting the idea all the way through publishing. That's a 9-session series that's available online, self-paced. And then I have put some of my purposeful memoir workshops, which are an hour or 2 hours, self-paced, kind of, you get the feeling that you're there with me. I'm guiding you through the prompts, and those are really interesting. So exploring ancestral roots, telling the truth through fiction, those are workshops that I love to teach, and I'm happy to be able to offer them online so that you can access them whenever. So most recently, the way this has been going is that post-COVID, like everybody else, I've been hungry to get out in the world. And my first trip after COVID was to Iceland with a friend. And I loved it in Iceland. And when I was there, I heard this little voice saying, writing and writing, writing and writing. And I listened to that voice. And the next year, which was last summer, I brought a group with me for riding and writing in Iceland. And I also did a riding and writing tour to Tuscany. This is some images of that trip. So we stayed in this beautiful farmhouse in Tuscany, which also had a stable next to it. And in the morning, we took our riding lessons in this gorgeous arena with this incredible view. And then in the afternoon, we did our writing. And we had plenty of time for, relaxing and enjoying each other's company and exploring the Tuscan hills. So that model worked really well, and I'm doing that again in Portugal this coming January, leading a group to a incredible dressage stable near Évora, Portugal, where they have beautiful Lusitano horses that we'll be riding. And I'm also going back to Iceland next summer in June, which is a great time to be in Iceland. It's light almost 24 hours a day. And these are just some photos from last summer's trip where, we had a fabulous time riding, trail riding along the beach in the mornings, and then coming in for writing in the afternoons. So, and also for people who don't ride but like to write, I have been partnering with Il Chiostro, which is another Berkshire-based small tour company focused on Italy. And they brought me to this incredible place, this Borgo San Fedele in Tuscany. And we had a memoir workshop there last spring, which was absolutely fantastic. This is a really beautiful place to be. It's just calm and nurturing, and everything is taken care of, and you can really just focus in on your own creative spirit. So we had a great time last spring, and I'll be going back again next spring, and looking forward to leading more folks there. What's nice about the San Fedele trip is that everything's taken care of, including excursions to Siena, for example, or other nearby places. And then you get to come back at the end of the day and just relax and enjoy. So these are experiences that are very special for me, and I'm so happy to be able to share them with others. And again, it all works together. So some of these people who were there in Tuscany with me last year will probably be publishing with Greenfire Press in the future. They were working on their books. We were working on them together while we were there. So I also do author coaching and manuscript review, and I love meeting people, hearing their stories, and kind of leaning into how I can help. You know, that really I'm all about being in service to this larger goal of making the world better, and I think our stories do that. So I have 2 Substacks that I write. One is Writing to Write the World, and the other is Education as the Spirit of Education. And I, as an educator, pretty much my whole life, a student and then an educator, I have a lot of ideas about education and how we might make it better. And so my Spirit of Education Substack is a sandbox for those ideas and will eventually become a book. Writing to Write the World is what I try to do with everything that I do. And so it's part pep talk, part philosophical reflections, and part here's what's coming up. So it's kind of my newsletter. So you can find me there on Substack. And I just wanted to say to anyone who's thinking about becoming an entrepreneur that all of my best ideas have come to me outside. It's really important to get outside, and in the Berkshires, we live in such a gorgeous place. I highly recommend grabbing your notebook and just heading outside to the woods or the fields or the mountains. This is a photo of me up on Mount Greylock. I love to go there. And just kind of tune in to those inner voices, those little inner promptings that will nudge you in one direction or another. Listen and pay attention, because beautiful things can blossom out of that attention. So my website is jenniferbrody.com, and I did load up my website with all of my many of my beautiful images, many of them from Nova Scotia, some of them from the Berkshires. I think that the images are also portals into our imagination, and so just including images as well as text in many of my books is really important to me. So thank you, and I wish you all the best in your entrepreneurial explorations.